Woman here, and are you still not subscribed to Matt's channel? Well, if you're not, hit the subscribe button because he's giving out free picks each and every week. Hope you have a good rest of your day.
UFC Vegas 96 fight night card back at the Apex. We got some good fights on the card. A couple good ones, at least. Ultimate Fighter finals. Interesting main event between Cannonier and Borralho. Interesting line, which we will talk about here shortly. I'll break down the main card, provide free picks, leans, price talk, fades, and more. Systemsportscapping.com is the website, or link.me/systemcapping. Client card will be available Friday. Best time to get on board if you like volume, guys. NFL is around the corner. PGA and UFC each weekend. I handicap NFL future investments videos, and season preview will be out next Sunday. Keep that in mind. Next Sunday. So I'll give some future bets out, talk the season, update the season, some changes over the off season, get you ready for the season. If you guys have been following me, NFL is one of my best sports long term. UFC 305 recap. DDP gets it done by submission. First person to submit Izzy, and it looked like it was just due to a mistake. Like, Izzy was looking great. The fight was turning into his direction, right? Looking good on the feet, landing a lot of nice body shots. Looked like the little better striker there. DDP has his, burst, right? Comes forward, swings heavy, looks wild, but he's able to hold up some blockers, hold up his hands to avoid big shots. And he got some grappling in there as well, right? Got some takedowns, so he was able to mix that in. And that's what happened here. Caught him with a nice shot, Izzy. Izzy got turned around, so DDP was able to bring him down and then find a quick submission. Definitely didn't see it ending by submission. I was on the over 2.5 rounds in a parlay with Protas, which did hit. Another 2-fight parlay did hit. However, it wasn't a profitable night due to Ursig. Ursig ruined the evening. I also was on the fight goes the distance and the bad luck with the submission, right? So 1-2 card. It's been 5 months since I had a losing pay-per-view card, guys. Pretty wild, but still outstanding record. 84%, 26-5 pay-per-view cards. Average line just around even money in the pay-per-view cards. I bet Ursig straight up minus 160, so it did affect the average line slightly there. Surprised with Ursig, right? I was very high on Ursig coming into this fight. No best bet or anything, thank God, due to the pricing. And, Kai was live. I had Kai winning this fight 30% of the time and only by knockout and finish, and that's how we want. He was able to catch Ursig, right? We saw Ursig in the first round look great, right? Controlling the distance and fight, and that's how I thought he would win the fight, probably by decision, but he got caught. He got caught with a big power shot, and I saw enough from Ursig to say that he was durable enough not to get finished by Kai. Kai caught him. Hats off to Kai there. When I have his only path to win by KO, I'll take a look at that, right? And it happened. And Ursig maybe a little too high on him, even though he looked great in that Pantoja fight, right? And previously has looked great in all of his fights. Gets caught on the feet with a big shot. So, mistake by him, yes. Am I totally off the Ursig train? No, I think he comes bounces back, wins his next fight, so I'll be tailing him in that fight. Hey, hats off to Protas. I thought he put the best performance out against Lee. I wasn't high on Lee due to, coming back. I mentioned I gave Protas out to you guys. It just was coming off that surgery, the spinal surgery. That's a bad injury. Looks like he couldn't wrestle because of that, so he had to stand on his feet. He just got picked apart. Protas is a guy you cannot fight standing, guys. Right? You got to try to wrestle and take him down. I don't think Lee was able to. Protas looked incredible in that fight. I got to mention Hooker as well, right? What a performance. I thought that fight was a flip of a coin, but give it to Hooker. Land the better shots on the feet. I did mention on the video, I'm going to stay away from the fight Wish I had a little play on Hooker. Did advise that Hooker could win that fight and is worth a shot. It's just hard to get the Gamrot at that price, right? The pricing was way off on that fight, right? If Hooker was able to keep the fight standing, he was able to do it for the most part, or at least get up at times. Hooker was going to win that fight, and he was able to. So hats off to Hooker. Very impressive. What a warrior. Love watching the guy fight. A warrior. Always takes damage, but also gives it back as well. Update here. UFC 26-5, 84% pay-per-view cards this year. I mentioned that already. 67% all cards, guys, for the year. Remember, these average lines plus money, around plus money now. You're looking at minus 102, 105 due to that Urseg bet. And then 70% long-term average line plus money on 2-fight parlays. 2-fight parlays have been doing very well on them. This year's even higher than that. Let's get right into it, guys. Let's get right into this card. Let's get right into it. Shop around best price in the market. Have multiple books to do so. Have multiple books to do that. Cannonier plus 200 versus Borrelio minus 250. Big price on Kai here. You know, I like the guy. I'm very high on him. But minus 250 against toughest test yet in a main event, first 5-round fight. It's a lot to ask. It's a lot to ask and difficult for me to bet him at this price, even though I am going to lean his way, and we'll talk about that here. You know, Cannonier's been there and done that. Right? Some of his wins, listen, he beat Strickland. Close fight, could have went either way, but he beat him. And he went 5 rounds with him. Vettori beat him as well. Had a nice win over Gastelum when Gastelum was more into his prime of his career. Borrelio has been fighting, down in competition, right? A few nice wins. Morodov was a nice win. Magomedov was a nice win. And last time out versus Paul Craig. But look at those names and then look at Cannonier, right? The level and resume advantage clearly goes to Cannonier, along with 5-round fights. Cannonier has a ton of 5-round fights, going the distance, fighting in main events like this. No stranger, right? No stranger. That's why his 250 price is very difficult for me to get to, right? Kai only can fight who they put in front of him. I understand that. He is 16-1. Very high-level guy. Love the Jimmy fights out of the Brazilian nerds or whatever they call it there. I just don't agree with the pricing. Unproven in this spot against a good guy like Cannonier. But at the same time, I can't back Cannonier. Right? I didn't love what I saw against Imamov. I think Imamov's a very good fighter, but I do think he kind of faded in that fight. Did not look great. It was, he had a couple decent rounds in there, Cannonier. I think he won 1 round before the stoppage, but he got stopped in that fight. I didn't love it. 4th round stoppage. Stats-wise, if you look at the stats-wise here, volume advantage goes to Cannonier. That's one thing I give him. Kai doesn't have a ton of volume, but a lot of that is due to his wrestling and getting this fight down to the ground, looking to grapple and wrestle, right? That's what Kai wants to do here. Kai, I believe he could just make it an ugly, boring fight and just win due to maybe some ground control. Cannonier's 61% takedown defense is an issue. Yes, at times he's good at getting up. I get that. Cannonier can get up to his feet, so that's something I do have to give him. But Kai has shown that he can win ugly. He can win smart. He can have a game plan for his opponent. That's what I find. And if it has to be boring and ugly and kind of just hold them down and control them, wrestle, try to grapple, he'll do that. He's not scared of doing that. Right? He can also strike as well, but I do believe that this is just like a striking Muay Thai boxing fight. It's going to be very close. Cannonier could win this fight due to the volume on the feet. I think Kai will try to wrestle, bring this fight down to the ground, and fight smart, because that's all I've seen from Kai, right? Kyle, right? So, yes, I do think Kyle gets it done. I just can't bet him at this price straight up at minus 250. I need to see more from him in a big spot. This is his first big spot, guys. Right? Is it too soon for Kyle? I don't believe so. However, I'm not willing to pay this price to find out in his first big spot. This is a wait-and-see fight for me. Again, I'm high on the guy. I love what I see. Cannonier, towards more the end of his career now. trying to continue to beat these tough guys, right? They continue to give him tough fights. Just tough to get in. And an outcome's very difficult because we've seen Cannonier multiple times go 5 rounds. Kai could just make this, a smothering type of wrestling fight, keep him down on the ground, grapple with him, not push for that finish. So outcome's very difficult here. We also haven't seen Kyle go 5 rounds. So a lot of questions here for me to, be all in on Kai here, even though I'm going to lean his way for podcast purposes. But yeah, I won't be betting this fight for clients this weekend. Interesting co-main here, right? Hill minus 110 versus Ricci minus 110. We got a flip of a coin, and I agree with the pricing here. It is a flip of a coin. I got to give a shout out to Angela Hill, right? Still fighting. I think she's 39, almost 40 now. She's just not going nowhere. 2-fight win streak, guys. Nice submission win last time out versus Pinheiro. Ricci has back-to-back fights, split decisions, very close fights, guys, right? Winning one and losing one of those split decisions. We know Ricci will have a wrestling advantage here, no secret. That's what you want to do, try to spam takedowns, right? Takedown, try to do something with it. Takedown, try to do something with her. Striking's poor. I have Hill as the better striker here. Hill's takedown defense at 76% is fairly solid, but you can take down Hill. I've seen at times they're getting a little better at getting up, but I expect Ricci to get this fight down to the ground multiple times in this fight. This is just going to be a very close fight, guys. You like flipping coins and making bets? I don't. The system doesn't allow it. I do love the over 2.5 rounds if fight goes the distance. You got to pay up for that, but that's going to be my favorite play here, right? This fight could go either way, right? If Hill's able to have some success on the feet early and not just get held down, she's going to get taken down. But if she does not get held down, she has a chance to win this fight. She lands the bigger shots on the feet. Maybe the judges go her way, right? Split decisions tell you that. Yeah, Ricci's getting the takedowns, but she's not doing a ton with it. So one judge likes it more than the other. So, not a fight that's going to get my clients money. But if I can fit in over 2.5 rounds, fight goes the distance at a decent price, it could fit in a 2-fight parlay for me. I got to shop around for the best price there. We got the middleweight Ultimate Fighter finale. Not going to lie, I haven't watched the Ultimate Fighter very closely this year. Didn't watch it saw some fights, but didn't watch every show. I think it's getting a little stale. I don't think this Ultimate Fighter was great, to be honest, from what I'm hearing. But went back, watched some tape, so I have some little information on it. I don't believe I might have a play on the next fight. I like a little more, but Lauder plus 150 versus Valentin minus 175. Lauder's a wrestler, right? Plus 150, D1 college wrestler, right? He'll spam takedowns. Yeah, his striking is low level, and obviously Valentin will have the striking advantage. He's a Muay Thai fighter. I know he trained over in Thailand. He's a European fighter, trained in Valentina's camp. I remember Grasso, what I saw here, some of the notes, Grasso actually took him over Valentin. Valentina was upset because Valentina knew him. So that was interesting here. Question will be, will Lauder be able to hold him down, right? He's going to have a big wrestling advantage. If a guy has a big wrestling advantage and you're giving me plus 150, only way I can look. And I looked at some Valentin tape, and I've seen him get taken down in fights. And this is probably the best wrestler he's faced, a D1 college wrestler. So, yeah, I would have to lean Lauder here due to the plus 150. Am I going to bet this? No, because I do think Valentin's much better striker. And if we can keep it standing somehow or catch him early in the fight, he could win this fight, right? That's why he's a minus 175 favorite here, guys, right? He is the much better striker here. He just has to avoid the takedown. So, yeah, only way I could look if I had to bet this fight was plus 150 on Lauder, but I'm not betting this fight, guys. Santos minus 175 versus Offley plus 150. This is another finals here after doing some research on this fight. I have Santos probably as one of the best guys in the house and is the reason he's the favorite here. A lot of experience in LFA. That's what I like. When I look at these guys, I look at previous experience where they're fighting. Offley's fighting nowhere, some low-level regional scene. And we have Santos having 2 fights in LFA. Winning one and losing to a tough Dan Argueleta. Previous UFC fighter, guys. Right? So Santos has a big experience edge over Offley in big fights, in my opinion. This is a big fight. So minus 175, you can do worse. It's not a terrible price. Tough to get to a straight bet. I know it's Ultimate Fighter, right? These fights could technically go either way. But I've seen a little more from Santos, from his resume on tape, that I can back him here in this position. Give me the Brazilian here. Don't love any of these Ultimate Fighter fights though, guys, right? Like we've seen in the past, they can go either way. It's more how, they've handled it in the house than more in the fighting octagon. Now, this is a little different because they're not in the house anymore, I believe, right? So this is more of just a fight at the Apex. So, I'll lean Santos here. It could make my client card if I can find a slot for it, but again, not super confident on these Ultimate Fighter fights. Magny plus 600 versus Morales minus 1,000. Yikes! Huge price here. This was like 850, and now I see up to minus 1,000. Who's betting Morales at 850, guys? Right? 16 Morales. I love the guy. Right? Gets a tough veteran in Magny here. You could say that Magny could be his toughest test yet. Right, he did beat some veterans already, though, right? So it's not like Morales is in a spot where, this is his toughest veteran that's going to make that big upset, because he's fought Max Griffin, veteran as well, and Jake Matthews, and he won both those fights. Now, both those fights went decision. They gave him a fight at times, right? So it wasn't like he blew them out of the water, but he won the fight clearly due to his striking capability. His striking is outstanding. Right, he usually will land the bigger shots in the fight. We know Magny, right? Gatekeeper has fought some of the best of the best, right? Coming off that huge win over Mike Malott. We got to talk about that, guys. Huge, big upset in that situation. Now, let's talk about it a little more, though, because Mike Malott was dominating him for 2 rounds. Gassed out, got tired. Magny was able to hold him down in a weird, awkward position and just TKO and ground and pound him. It was a wild ending. One of the larger upsets of this year, because Mike Malott was in the same position as Morales. Now, I have Morales higher than Mike Malott. I get that. But Mike Malott was a big-time prospect out of Canada. And he looked great in the first 2 rounds and then just gassed out. Very strange. Very strange to watch what happened there. But hey, hats off to Magny for winning that. Morales will, have a huge striking advantage here. Volume is much higher, over 5 significant strikes, and we have Magny in the low 3s. Takedown defense very high too at 91%. Magny is not going to try to wrestle here or try to get this fight down to the ground. Magny isn't pulling off the upset again. I do not see that, guys. I would be totally shocked if he gets back-to-back huge upsets. You just can't bet this price on Morales, right? How do you improve it? I would actually lean a decision, right? Sure, Morales could find that big shot and hurt Magny. We just haven't really seen Magny knocked out. We've seen him submitted a lot, but Morales doesn't really have any. I think he has 1 submission in his career. He doesn't submit guys, right? He's not known for submitting guys, right? Magny just doesn't get finished, right? Last time I think was 2018. Magny got finished on the feet. Now he's a little older. I understand the chin could kind of go, and Morales is that young guy that could do it. But if I had to bet an outcome, I would lean the decision here. Back-to-back decision wins against veterans for Morales as well. Now, he wants to maybe get that finish and look better in the ring. You don't want to continue to win decisions. I get that. So the finish could come here. But if I had to, it would be a decision on the outcome. But yeah, obviously Morales is the play here. Just very difficult to bet him at this price. Open up the main card, Shabazian minus 300 versus Gerald Meerschaert plus 240. Another big price here. I don't agree with the price, but I do agree that the favor should win this fight. Shabazian is a clear example. Shabazian is a clear example of UFC, pushing him too quickly. Right? I talked about this multiple times. They push him into big fights too quickly, and he lost. Getting knocked out in some of those, right? Now they're giving him a lower level path and he's won 2 out of the last 3 fights, and now he's getting another winnable fight here against Gerald. Shahbazyan should make this an MMA fight. Get this fight down to the ground, use his wrestling, his grappling. Gerald's weakness is his takedown defense at 34%, some of the lowest in the UFC guys. Now, he's going to have to be careful with the submissions, but Edmund, very good grappler. Never been submitted in his MMA career, guys. The chin is always the question. But Gerald doesn't have that knockout power to hurt Shahbazyan on the feet. Right? Last time he finished a guy was from a body kick back in 2017. Give me Shahbazyan here. I don't love the price. Could work into a 2-fight parlay. I think it's tough to call an outcome. Very difficult to call an outcome here. So I would have to play the price, shop around, get a little better price out there. But it could be a 2-fight parlay piece this weekend. That will do it, guys. That will do it. Enjoy this card. A couple good fights. Always kind of fun to watch the Ultimate Fighter finale, even though it's tough to handicap at times. It's very entertaining to watch. That will do it. Look out for the NFL video next Sunday. You're gonna have 2 videos next week, and then 2 videos for 4 or 5 months from the NFL and UFC podcasts, available on Apple Podcasts, available on Spotify, and of course YouTube if you like video. Like I always say, guys, bet smart and know your limits. Enjoy these fights.